Alright, it is done now, so there isn't that much noise here, and you should realize that this Arnold render view, when it's done rendering, it it still shows some noise, as opposed as to when you render directly the actual scene. um, Arnold will do a much cleaner result. However, this is the baking will be performed like in this render view. So this is going to have some noise, and therefore I know that the number of samples is fine, but so we need to have 324 samples. If I increase that, alright, let's try like this. This is going to be quite heavy. Hopefully the portal lights or the light portals are going to contribute some optimization. So let's take a look at how this goes. Okay, so see that now the the noise is way less than before. It's way less noticeable, and the time it took was approximately the same as before. So I feel quite confident to try baking. So yeah, let's try this out. Now this is not a source image, so I'm going to images, new folder, medieval, what they have, medieval door underscore 01 AI bakes. Actually, just bake. By the way, F2 lets you rename whatever you have selected, even if sometimes you don't have the rename feature. Only right click in some programs. So F2 always gets you the rename ability. So okay, that's the images directory. Select. I want this a 4K resolution there with 4 camera samples. Blackman Harris, or Harris. It seems good to go. It will take lots of time, so I'm gonna pause here, save and render. See you when it's done, maybe a couple of hours. Okay, it's the day after. I just left it overnight. I don't know how long it took, but this is the result. So quite nice. Okay, so generally speaking, it's fine. I think these are the bolts on the lower side of the hinges. So what you get from where is it? What you get from Arnold when you bake is a EXR image like this. EXR is a 32-bit float type of image, so that means it allows the the storage of very much color information. Um, yeah, actually, this can also contain more than one image and more than the regular RGB channels can contain also alpha and many other images as layers and many layered images in the same image. So this is also used for photographic purposes. When you try to open it, at least this is for Photoshop. OpenEXR read options always ask for the alpha channel data treatment. Use it as transparency or use as alpha channel. For bit downgrading to 8 bits, so we can save it as a PNG. The best thing to do is to set it as transparency. So the default option is that. So we opened this up. At this point here, what you have to do, see, we have 32 bits, RGB 32 bits. And down here, we have the 32-bit exposure. So you can change the overall exposure of your texture if that was too dark. Okay, to just preview how the exposure works. Because once we are going to flatten this down to 8 bits, it's going to go back to how it was originally. I'm not really sure, so let's double check that. Image mode, and you see 32 bits. We switch to 8 and we get this dialog. You get this dialog only if you use it as transparency. So otherwise, if you set it as alpha channel, you get another dialog, which to me does not work that well to preserve the image you baked. And here we click on don't merge. Now, not merging, you see, it's bringing this back to how it was originally, but that's fine. I mean, we have the exposure thing here, so you can play with the exposure even later. You can gamma correct too if needed. I will keep this as is. I don't, well, maybe I could work a little bit on it, but let's see. So when we play with the exposure, we should make sure to not get this kind of complete white. This is called a burned image. Alright, so when we get that sort of white, that's no good. So let's see, we have some burning here. Let's see with the gamma correction. That exposure is just too high. Okay, so just a little bit more exposed. And let's see for the gamma. Okay, that washes out quite a lot. Go with a 0.8. The offset is going to most likely ruin this. Yeah, this thing washes everything out, just makes everything black. So back to 0, and who cares about that? So now I'm gonna merge down. So we keep the effect. Alrighty, and now we can save it as a PNG. Alright, PNG. The location is correct. Let's save it. Okay. Now, what Arnold cannot do is to bake the necessary things outside of the object's UVs. So these pieces of textures are actually laying perfectly within the UV space, and that is not good. Right? We need the colors to be expanded also a little bit beyond the the UV spaces, right? So for that, here in Photoshop, since Arnold does not yet support this padding, if you have the GIMP, just look for a plugin called UV padding. If you're using Photoshop instead, you can use the filter, then go to the Flaming Pair. If you Google for Flaming Pair filters, you can find their site very easily. And what I'm going to use is the Solidify C. I downloaded this entire set here and installed it just for the Solidify filter to solve this problem with Arnold. But that's totally worth it, because it does an excellent job at what it is supposed to do. Okay, so no seam is ever going to show up here. Alright, so I'm gonna save this over the first one there. Yes, I want to replace it. Okay. It's a quite big image, so it's gonna take a few seconds yet. So while we wait, we will save as, save, Control Shift S, and then AI Bakes test. We'll number this 5. Right. So in this test scene, where I'm going to test the baked texture on the model, so I'm gonna remove everything that belongs to Arnold and everything that relates to any kind of bake or rendering. We don't need that stuff anymore, at least on this scene. So whenever I want to go back to the baking process, I just open the Arnold baking scene, and then I can just open, when it's done, I can open this image, this other scene here, to be able to see the actual baked texture on the object. So that's what I'm going to prepare next. So I'm gonna assign another material, and I'm gonna optimize the scene so the Arnold stuff goes into the trash for this scene. That's cool. And now the hypershade. Okay, I have the object selected with the material I want to edit. Click that button, and that will load any number of material attached to your selection. So in this case, just one, but this is the test material. So we can more easily recognize it here. Alright, and I'm going to bring in the PNG here. And one would think I will plug the color into the color, and that's it. That will show the texture. Let's see how dark it is. And once you get it into Second Life, this is not going to be this dark. And you may wonder, but yeah, I mean, why? Why is it doing that? Well, because here it is applying a color transformation to the color. Now, if we want to have no type of shading from Maya, what we should do is detach this connection here, attach the out color to the incandescence, and set instead the color to black. Right, so let's now this is the final look, and this is exactly what you will see inside of Second Life. This is the actual toning. It's like it's self-lit. I mean, it is self-lit and has no color, and therefore the other shading that the viewport supports are not taken into account, because the color is black and the self-illumination is this one here. So since it is self-illuminated, self-lit, no other shading effect is going to take place. Now this will need the ambient occlusion to be layered on top also. Okay, I think for these crevices to pop out, and a few more tweaks using other maps that we've got from Substance Designer. But overall, I'm pretty content with this result. Quite nice. Very cool result. Very good rendering. Okay, so let's take a look at what we can do. We have seen this already, right? The layered texture. Oh, by the way, the image comes in with a filter type, so turn it off. No filter. And sRGB, that is fine. So now it is even sharper. Look, I will turn it off. Turn it on. Quadratic. And it is smoothed out a little bit. We'll take a screenshot of this detail. Just open it. It's opening on my other screen. Now I turn it off. I'll take another screenshot. Approximately same area. Open it. Okay, so this is the second I did. This is the first one. So way more surface detail. You may want to keep this in mind. Okay, remember that we are going to downsize this thing, right? And these sharp and crisp details are going to get like this in the shrunk version of the texture, right? So keep that in mind, because that is the actual difference in doing that. No filtering on the images ensures that all of the information gets there. Now here is quite noisy, right? But this kind of thing is going to disappear as soon as we start the transfer of these textures. Right, so unfortunately some parts of metals, you see everywhere there are the pixels because they are unfiltered. Let's see if that is the mid map. It's a box. Change. Quadratic. We know it. Quartic. Change. And Gaussian. And friggin' no change. Off. Gaussian. They are mostly the same. Oh well. So enough with this diversion. Right, so we've got a layered texture, and we need the material textures back. So ambient occlusion, slap it over there. Little mouse click and drag empty space will place it beneath everything. So here it is, medieval door 01 shape 1, that's the bake. Now I click on the green one, and I will middle mouse click and drag over this color, not here or here, it won't work. With the green selected, that's what you start with. Go to this color and then attaches the image over there. And then the out color goes to the incandescence. Now if we take a look here, of course you will see just the ambient occlusion over the model, which is cool. Anyway, quite a lot of detail over there going on. Right, so now layered texture node selected. Make sure you're selecting the ambient occlusion on top, blend mode, and then multiply. Now the alpha will drive the blending, so you can see here real time on the model. That to me is way better than doing it in Photoshop and trying it here. I can adjust it directly in Maya. So 100% to me it is way too much, but someone may like it. Let's see, around 50%. 0. 0.5, 100. I think that. Let's see, 0.75. 0.75. Quite aggressive. Maybe too much. Maybe too aggressive. Let's see, 0.65. By the way, I was inputting, was putting 0.65 over here, the alpha. Cool. So the ambient occlusion is there. That is great. Now what you may want to do, let me see if that does it. Yeah, well, I can show you this. I usually do this operation in Substance Designer directly. Okay, so also the ambient occlusion and everything. But to show you what you can do with those textures you baked out, let's see. images, AI big, no. Material. I need the curvature maps. Where did I save the texturing? Don't. I bake. This is where I output assets. No, that's where I will save Second Life stuff. Ah, turtle. Jeez, that's right. Okay. So occlusion map from mesh. That's what we already got. This is the curvature. The curvature from mesh, I think. This one here and here. So I think I will output also a curvature output in the material folder for the entire normal map curvature. So again, that's something that I would do directly here when I would create Second Life materials with my node for the conversion, but basically the thing is IDOR material, come on. Thank you so much. Alright, I'm going to look for curvature, and we get curvature and curvature smooth. Now algorithmic talks very often of this curvature Sobel. I like to have a little bit more control using the older ones, and these use a normal map as an input. So we grab the normal map from the material. Okay. Now this is the curvature, and it gives you the sharpest detail. This other curvature instead gives you the smoother details. Okay, see the difference. Okay, the good thing about these two is that we can blend them together. Blend. So the sharp one on top and the smoother one on the lower side. And I will set this to overlay. See, so that I get a combination of the two. Now the one on top, the sharpest one, is always too sharp. Right, so the opacity needs to go down quite a lot, depending on the texture and on the result you get here. So I think 1/4 0.25. Okay, 1/4 would be fine. Now we'll create a custom output. Gris output. Okay, and I will rename this as curvature. We'll label this curvature. Usage, I think curvature is not available here, right? Indeed, I can just create it. Curvature. Alright, save this. Now we'll output that. Let me save the package, export outputs. Now I don't really need the other outputs to be actually output again, so none, and we'll add just the curvature. Double checking the location, so that's okay. Save all, which is just one. So let's go back to the material. Now we should have also the curvature. Here it is. And I will drag it into the hypershade directly like that. And I will add this on top of everything here in the layer texture. Right, so I will middle mouse click and drag, and I will put it here. Now by default, you see it's setting it as the last layer. Middle mouse click and drag, and now it's on top. Indeed, it is now showing here instead of the texture because it's on top. Now, blend mode. I think we need some feedback, right? Don't we? So, let me see if I can open that in the attribute editor. There it is. Okay, so we have layer is visible. Turn it on and or off. Now let's see in. Out. Oh well. Add. Horrible. Subtract. Even worse. Multiply. Actually, I like this to be used as a overlay. For a horror thing, I think this is going great. So multiply is for dungeons and stuff like that. No multiply. Difference, the lighten, darken. Let's see darken. No actual effect. Illuminate. Cool. Now we're talking. So this is something that you could do as well. Great. Illuminate. I didn't know this illuminate. Probably is the equivalent of overlay. No, actually overlay doesn't make it darker. So let's see what value may be good, because this is really too dark and too accentuated. Yeah, I think that 0.7 is pretty good. Yep. I like this. Alright, so for this section of the Let's Build video, my time is up, unfortunately, so I will stop the recording and I will take it back at another time. Alright, so I'll keep going with some testing, so you have the chance to see some more things here in Maya. Okay, so the curvature. Now, if I set the curvature also to have alpha as luminance, I will get the same image also in the out alpha, which is a good thing because I can simply remap this. So I may want to use the remapped version of this thing for some more texture and detail. So remap, and since we're working with the alpha, because I want to use this next in the layer texture as an alpha. Let's see what happens. Remap value. Alright, alpha goes into the input value there. We can preview that. And over here we can just invert it. Selected color. So this would invert also the color if I were to use the color. I just do this so that I'm sure that that this image gets changed how I want it to be. So smooth and smooth. Alright. Okay, so let's try this with another diffuse, another bake. Put it there. Put it on top. Okay, so we're back to the original situation. Let's see what happens if I plug this into the alpha value. So where is it? Right here. Out value onto the alpha value. Okay, nothing happens. Let's see if we change here the blend mode. In, out. Very creepy. Add. Nope. Subtract. Multiply. I cannot believe this. Alright, so where we do the remap value here. So we inverted it. The look is quite cool. However, to me it is a little bit too dark. It's too intense. So this curve here can be edited. So I would think that remapping like this would help. No, this isn't of any help. Right, you see how that changes the overall look. What goes through. Oops. Again, let's take a look at without. With. I'm not really sure about this. And yeah, if I leave it not visible, that's of course going to not show up any changes. Oh well, you get the point about this thing. So you can keep tweaking until you get the perfect look, and you can always go back there and see what your changes made of a difference. In my case, I think I'm not going to use this layer anyway. So it was just for demonstration purposes, what you could do and how you can use any texture you import or create within Maya 2D textures here. Ramps, fractal, all of these procedural one might be useful for breakup effects. You can also import your PSD file. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm gonna proceed with the next stage. I'm going to remap all of the images from 4K resolution to a series of 1K resolution images, so it will go well with Second Life, with of course the limit of 8 materials. So I'm gonna save this, Control Shift S to save as, and I'm going with the 6, and now texture transfer. Alright, there you go. Cool. So what we have to do in this stage is to tell Maya that, select this object, okay, that this is the source image with the source resolution, and we need this to be split into more quadrants. We can call this quadrant. This is a UV tile. So in order to keep this untouched, did I save as? Yes. In order to keep this untouched, so it can be used by the renderer to actually render the materials, we have to create a second layer of UVs, namely called the UV sets. So here is the little interface, really handy. You can also find the same things here. Okay, and what we want to do is to copy UVs to UV set, copy into new UV set. So I'm basically reusing the same UVs here, and I'm gonna copy them into another UV set. It's like a sort of different layer of UVs. Alright, so I'm gonna use this SL UV set, so it's going to be easy to identify what is what. And I'm going to click on apply. Alright, now we have two UV sets. One is called map 1, which is going to stay forever. Maya does not like this to be renamed and or deleted. And then we have this SL UV set that right now match. Now let's adjust the grid to 8 units, because that's the limit of materials we can have. Apply close. So each single square over here, from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, each one of these is going to represent a different material. So going to the layout, making sure that I have the correct UV set selected to work on. I go to the arrange and layout. Now I would like to keep everything as is. The only thing is preserve UV ratios. Let's see how that works. So we do not change the actual scale of what we have upscaled over there. Oh, there. And what I want here is to use 8 tiles on the direction. U direction is the horizontal, the x-axis, right? That makes it just easier to arrange our materials. So let's see what happens. Let it think, let it think. Alright, so this is quite bad. I don't like this at all for Z. First of all, because it skipped entirely one tile. Alright, I'm gonna use the legacy method. Put scale none, shell layout, nearest region. Okay, yeah, I forgot. I had to. Yeah, I have to lay this out manually. Alright, so this is the preparation. Now I need to grab stuff and place it where I want them to be placed. So UV shell, sure nothing selected. So this goes here. These will go here. Most probably we're going to get fewer materials, way fewer than 8. So let's make sure everything's good. Maybe these can go here. And finally, alright, so let's see how that works. Oh, by the way, if I click on map 1, we still have that one. Alright, let's see how that layout is gonna work. This is real bad. So layout setting, uniform, rotate none, it's okay. It's taking way more texture room. Alright, so let's see what happens if I grab these and slap them in there, and these go here, here, these go well here, and yeah, probably these could go well here too. Okay, so just 3 materials. Let's see what we can get. Yeah, much better result. Much better. 2048 map. Okay, so there is an actual distance. However, I have to set this to 1024. Let's see this shape. No change. Yep, no change. So I guess that we cannot do any better than this. Maybe we could. Remember, this needs to become a full perm item, so it should be pretty easy to texture and identify the parts. So I will add some extra spacing. No, just you. Up. So when you're texturing, and especially when someone else is supposed to put their hands on the asset to work on, it's always a good idea to not leave everything packed as you find it after the remap, after the layout, excuse me. Right. So hopefully this is going to make sense. A bit more room there. Good. And a little bit more room over here too. That's not a bad idea. This down? Nope. Let's move these two here. Here, oh, nice set of tools. Okay, nice set of tools here in the transform. I think. No, align and snap. Sorry. When I get two of these shells, I can line them up like this. See? You can also easily overlap objects using these tools. Really cool, and these are now similar also in the icons to Photoshop. So yeah, you also have the linear align if you have different alignments. See? Cool stuff. Alright, so I'm going to move a little bit more also these. Cool. And I think that's it. Nope. This and this. Up, so it gets a little bit more room for the door. Now I think that's it. Okay, so we will end up with 3 materials. Stuff that I will do later, anyway. The Second Life material assignments. Now this is for the texture transfer, so let's save this, delete history. So here we have 2 UV sets. Map 1 is the source, the 4K texture, and this is the SL UV set. So maybe later I might want to have more room for each single piece, and I can change my mind and redo the baking, but essentially this is what you have to do. Now next is to re-enable Turtle, because that's what we are going to use to transfer this image, the 4K image, onto the 3 1K images that we want from this layout that we just created. So settings, preferences, plugin manager, Turtle, close, save. Alright, now switch engine, set the render time to baking, Sampling, we are going to set it later. Options, 9 threads. No. Okay, baking. Add selected. 1 centimeter search in the front and on the back. No alpha, no shadows, we don't need them. 1024, 1024, conservative rasterization. Okay, now the output. So these are going to be the final assets. So I'm gonna put this into the assets, new folder, medieval dollar underscore 01. SL material textures. So directory is the correct one. Open. Okay, PNG first of all. Alright, so this is the $P is the pass, so what you choose here. $S is the shape name, so I don't want the baked prefix. I don't need also the pass name. I need the shape name. I will start with 01, so that's the 01 means this first square, right? The numbers on these things go from left to right, from 1 to 10, then it restarts here from the 2. That's why I wanted all of these horizontally, because it's just easier later to change the UV range. So I would call this SL shape, then 01 for that first thing, so UV range user specified, and well, we will see that later. For now it's okay. Now, not full shading, we want the albedo, so just the color, and here no, nothing really important. Now, another important thing before I proceed with the baking is to remove incandescence from here. Make sure it's black. See, it's way darker due to the color transformation. Alright. Okay, let's save and bake. Let's see what happens. Set this to raw. Cool. You see, 20 seconds to transfer this from the 4K texture to this 1K texture, and the result is not bad at all. Okay, it's also quite easily texturable. Alright, let's move on to the next. So, if this first square that goes from 0 to 1 was specified here from 0 to 1. Take into account only the U direction, so the horizontal one. If that is from 0 to 1, the next square is from 1 to 2. So I will tell my okay, now bake from 1 to 2. And now I will also change the name here so it won't override that. Bake. Okay, it's exactly on the edge. Alright, I think I will rebake these two. Want to rearrange stuff a little bit. Like to get more room. So let me try again with the layout, the Unfolded 3D, the new method. Tracking iteration, texture map size 1024, tiles U 3, scale mode uniform. Let's try this. No, Control Z. Scale mode off. Let's see. Nope. Off, everything off, scale mode off. Let's try again. It's thinking because I'm narrowing its range of action. And now I would like to know why these went out there and these are overlapping. Okay, Control Z. Map 1 is still there. Cool. Alright, so for game stuff, this is working cool, but when it comes to Second Life rearrangement, I still prefer this legacy one. So let's see. Scale mode none. Prescale none. Let's try. And it's not giving a freaking damn. What is this? Ah, let's close the hyper shade. And it doesn't really like uniform. Let's see, as shape. It's not moving anything. Alright. So I think we need to do this manually. So where's the align stuff? Align and snap. Okay, so first of all I'm going to snap all of them like this, and I'm gonna scale this up by 2, and no. these are going to fit in this square. Let's enlarge this by 1.52. These as well. Yeah, they're gonna fit there. These, no. This needs to stay as it is. We'll scale it up later. Now these, I think, are not going anywhere. Yep. So let's make some room. R. Okay, let's get that closer. Like that. Let's give it some room over there. Over here too. Okay. So in the alignment, no, let's do like this. 1, 2. Well, actually, you can line them up like that. Okay, always work like if the next person that is going to work on this thing is actually a psychopath, okay, that would most likely come after you if the thing that you're going to give them to work isn't really user-friendly. Maybe these can go over. So nice and consistent. Okay, so this first one is well packed, at least nicely. Let's see if we can make these fit here. Definitely could. I took one too much. One in excess. So that hopefully this thing makes a little bit more sense that it was making before. Okay, we can definitely put all of these down here. Huh. I think these are from here, right? Yes, they are. Okay, so okay, so we shall. It's not incredibly precise, but it is going to work. I suppose, at this point, right. Okay, I would not overlap those. That's the idea for the baking. So save, you never know. Now, let's see what we have to do with these. This belongs here. Can we make this fit right there? Yeah, I wouldn't like to do this, but I think it's the best. Rotate. Let's see if we can make them fit here. Right there. Good. And yeah, we basically left with no room for these two pieces. Dang it. This is going to be tough. This is going to be real tough. I need to think about this thing. so I reordered the things so that they made more sense. So all of the handle stuff is down here, all of the bolts, the main horizontal beams here in this material, here only the frame material, and then here the back with the vertical bars, and the front with its own vertical bars. Okay, so we have from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and from 3 to 4. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Save, because you never know. Let's begin with the number 1. We do 0 to 1. Okay, 0 to 1, right? And bake. So I will show you the final result once I get them. And yeah, just as a reminder, this is not the final color, it's sRGB gamma. What will be saved is this version, the raw. And it's got quite a bit more room than before. Okay, so 2, it's 1, 2. It's doing its thing. So no, I'm not stopping the recording at this point. It's just for, it's not that many. Okay, let's go ahead with the 3, and so we have U minimum and U maximum. Make again. Now, if this wasn't to be a builder's pack, so that the pieces should make sense and be easily texturable, I would have split these in half, in 2 halves. The baking process would have happened correctly anyway, but I would have gained more room over there. Just saying. I could have packed in many pieces, just transfer, and everything would work. So I could have packed everything way better. Alright. Hey. Alright, this was the last one. What part is that? So that is where the handle hangs from. Looks odd. Let's take a look at the actual bake. AI materials, no. They are here. Yeah, that's exactly the same. So probably it is that shading. This shading here just looked a little bit odd. But anyway, that is done, so we can close it. Control S, and then we save it for the last step, 7th, and that is the SL prep. So the preparation for Second Life export. Cool. So first of all, let's go back to the UV Image Editor. Select the object. Maybe we can see the UVs. Right. I need it a little bit smaller. All right. Okay. Don't need the UV toolkit for now. All right. So each one of these squares is going to represent a material. So let's create a first material, and we call it favorite. Again, always our friendly Lambert material. Lambert. We call this material 0. Okay, we'll give it a color. It is just for us to have a visual representation. That will be the first square. Now, second square, UV shell. I'm gonna select it from here, right click, favorite material Lambert, and you see that now it's no longer red. Call this material 1, and we change its color to yellow. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, another Funko. Alright, okay, so I apparently cannot sit for an hour without receiving a call. Alright, so we were here at the material assignment that I completed off screen, but it's always the same deal. So you get the UV shells, you select them, they get selected over here, right click, and assign favorite material Lambert, or new material, and any other material. Okay, so we've got 4 materials, 4 textures. Let's actually take a look at them. And right, so we have these. This is the first one. How many things do I have here? Nope. Okay, so this is the shape 101, so this is the first block. Yeah, we can optimize the scene. So we can get rid of whatever we don't need. We can throw in these ones to double check how they're going to look like. So go to material 0, which is the number 1 here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've got 1, 2. I call this 4, not 3. Okay, so Hypershade. In the Hypershade, I'm gonna call my selections materials. You see, all of them get loaded in. Now, okay, number 1. That's material 0. Again, incandescence, and the color to black. This is for testing. Before we actually export for Second Life, we will have to send this to color. Alright. And that's not it. Let's see which one should be then. The yellow. All right. Yes, I forgot something really important. For the SL prep, in order to be able to see this, this is my bad. In order to be able to see these textures on these UVs, we have to remember that the UV set that we are displaying is the SL UV set, but the current one, the one that is used by default, is still this one here. So if we go back to SL UV set and then copy UVs to UV set map 1, then you get the map 1 to get the same UVs as the SL UV set. And now things start to actually pop in. Yeah, that was something I needed to explain. Alright then, so moving on, number 2 should be material 1. Not color. Incandescence. Remove the color. Remove the color. Okay, so this is the material 2, that's fine. So next up is this one here. And I'm not checking yet because I did it in a so linear fashion that if I made a mistake, really should begin to laugh at myself from now on forever. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, no mistake. Cool. So apparently everything gets enough texture space. Maybe the frame should get a little bit more, but that is the frame. So no biggie, as long as we have nice details here and there. Alright, very cool. Now you can use the same exact process for each single type of texture, like the roughness, the F0 or the metalness, the normal map that you got from Substance Designer. Instead of having this color map as we did, once you've got everything ready and going in the previous step, you can always go back and export roughness or glossiness, everything that you need for your Second Life materials. For this thing here, I'm not going to. So yeah, I will just move on to the next step for the SL prep. Alright, and using the UVs as a selection mean, I'm gonna separate these objects, but we need to make sure that no groups are being left. Alright, so with that selection in play, nope, I'm still not using the UVs. These are arranged differently than what we need. So, what do you think? We need the frame. pieces. And with the frame we should get also the bolt hinges and the fixed part of the hinges. Alright, all the rest should stay as it is. Right, so shift right click and let's see if I can do a separate. If I can separate them. Extract and okay, so no, I can just extract these faces, I guess. Let me see, mesh. Okay, history. Mesh separate. Jeez. Okay, so they lost their material assignment. Oh, this is so annoying. So annoying. Let's do an extract faces. So if the result is gonna be the same, better doing it nice and clean with separate. It's not unique. Okay, we don't care, it's not unique. History. Up arrow. Ungroup. History again. Alright, so this has definitely got the wrong material, so let's take the frames. And this should be material 2, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's material 2. That is fine. Okay, so using the UVs. One use F2. Alright, so yeah, I need to show you this. So I'm going to do the assignment of the materials again. So existing material 0. Okay, so it didn't break the UVs after all. Good. Material 0, material 1. Material 2, we did it. And material 3. Right, so this is material 3, existing material 3. Okay, save. What's that error? Would like to know. Alright, so I'm going to grab everything that needs to be stationary. So this stuff goes together, and so combine history, and this is medieval door frame. Good. Now shift select so that it switches the selection like that. Am I missing anything? Except that, it's okay. Shift, right click and combine. History, that's cool. Now, for the export. For the export, I want this door to be correctly hinging, and so for this I'm going to take advantage of a bug here from Maya. So I'm going to export the frame separately from the door. So file and export selection. Oh, actually, before I do that, freeze transformation history, and to avoid that bug I was talking about, modify and bake pivot. Right, which did not work. Modify, bake pivot. There. Cool. And so for this, I'm going to export selection, and I want it in the assets. Oops. Assets, medieval door. Medieval door underscore frame underscore 01. Medieval Okay, so that's the frame. Save. I'm gonna set this into a layer. Oh, I need to rename this. This is medieval door. Just 01. Cool, and for this I want its pivot point to be here, where the hinges are. So D, V. With that pivot point in place, I'm gonna set that to 0, 0, 0, enter, and it goes over there. Freeze transformation. Alright. Now, I will actually have to do that also for the frame, but I want to support also the mirrored versions of the same door. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate it. So that's -1, and freeze. Control D. -1. Now, the bug I'm talking about in Maya when we export for Second Life is all about the selection of multiple objects, like this. Okay, when you have something like this, the full bounding box will be the entire selection if we don't bake the pivots. And in this case, it's exactly what I want. Okay, so we'll get 4 doors, so for the four orientation of that a door can take, and I will have to do that also for the frame. Now I can export this, so freeze history, no bake pivot, file, export selection, medieval door, hinging, 01, there. So yeah, I can even just Control Z and undo all of these things. So again, I can get back to there. Control S, and I'm gonna set it into its own layer. Cool. Now these frames, it's really easy. Control D, and we do a -1 scale, freeze and history, take the second one, Control D, negative scale in the other direction, move it away, freeze transformation, okay, all frozen, modify, bake pivot for all of them. Right? And now one by one, because otherwise the bounding box will be taken exactly like this, right? Even if the pivot points will be placed correctly for each single piece. If we bake these anyways, we have to, it's better to just export one by one. Frame 2, right? Frame 3, frame 2, frame 3, and finally frame 4. Alright, now that we have all of those frames, we can get rid of these. And now we can create a physics shape that will go well with the hinging doors. So we will begin with that. It's quite easy, we just make a bigger cube. There is it. Freeze. No, okay. This is really stupid of me. I have the scale tool, move tool. Okay. Alright, freeze. Control D. Control D. Freeze history. And this is going to be for the hinging doors. Okay, so they will get a physics shape that won't take into account the enlarged bounding box. File, export, selection, medieval door hinging 01, hinging fis underscore 01. Okay. Call this door face right? And for the frame, which isn't that one. Oh, by the way, let's see without the frame. I think I did a big mistake here while baking with the closed door. I think I had to bake it open. Nothing too difficult to redo. Let's prepare the assets. Textures can be always redone quickly. We have all of the files. We have some parts that are completely black. I did not realize that. My bad. I could actually do this deassembled, so we avoid that complete black over there. Alright, but so far so good anyway. Okay, what's important is that we have working assets. Right there, thanks. Here, thanks again. Now we actually shouldn't have these cubes intersecting like that. Okay. Freeze history combo. Freeze history. Cool. Now, no, modify not mesh. Bake pivot. File, export, selection, and then a frame. Frame fis underscore S01. There we go. So adding it there. Okay, so I did this stupid thing, and I should have seen it coming. You know, when you're explaining, you're not really thinking too much ahead of time, but the final result is not bad at all. Come on. Yep. Okay, so we exported the assets. Now I can open Autodesk FBX Converter, add FBX Converter, select all of them, drag and drop there, choose Collada, convert, So I will stop the recording.